Hi guys, you alright? Just a quick one then, next video. Hopefully this is just going out to my Patreon subscribers. I just wanted to say a bit of a thank you for those of you who supported me through that and make this exclusive to you guys. The plan is to do a bit of a run through of the deck that I've just built randomly on the previous YouTube video, and to talk you through how I go about building my command decks for that, and then just to do a review of some of the 0 point, 1 point, 2 point command cards, just talk through my thoughts on them, and then chat to you about the process that I use when I'm building a list. So hopefully this will be interesting for those of you who might use the same sort of ideas, might be new to you. Take what you will from it. Some of it won't be useful to you. You might find that you've got better ways of doing things. You might not like the way that I do it. However, this is a way that I've found is successful, and hopefully it's of use to some of you. In addition to that, just chatting through how I sort my things, how I've got everything laid out, so that you can get an idea. If you're new to the game, you might want to get some of these things. It's not expensive, but it just helps to have everything sorted, I find. So let me know in the comments again below how you feel about this, whether you think we should keep these for Patreon only, or whether you want to you think we should just open them out to YouTube. That'd be great. Okay, thanks guys. So just to start off with, just a quick flash through the equipment that I use. So I've got a Ultimate Guard Flex Folio that I use for all of my deployment cards. I find it's really helpful. So it's got my upgrades, then going through my non-uniques for rebels, uniques for rebels, non-uniques for scum, and upgrades, uniques for scum, and then it moves on to my Imperials. There's loads of space in there, more space than I think I'll probably ever need, unless this game gets huge. In which case, you know, I'm more than happy to get a second one. So really nice. I don't think they're particularly expensive. Have a look around, probably about £15 I should expect, but well worth getting your hands on those. Nice and handy just to have it all in there, and I chuck it in my bag then. Also, Ultimate Guard. It took me ages to find one of these. I was using business card holders for ages before I found out that you could get these. I think they're a fairly new thing with X-Wing, I guess, boosting into popularity, but they fit in the upgrades from X-Wing or the command cards for Imperial Assault, and this is fantastic. So I've got loads of these. Well, I've got one of these. It's got all my cards in, and it'll hold absolutely everything. And I've got everything. And then there's loads of space at the back that's just empty as well. So that's all the uniques. There you probably can't see that too well. That's all my uniques though sorted. You can see plenty of space there. And then it goes through each of my unit types. So for example, spies sorted by keyword and then cost. A little bit OCD, but it really helps with list building. I'm not that crazy about getting everything in order alphabetically and things, but it helps to have it roughly sorted by keyword and then by cost. So that's in there, and that's really helpful. Similar sort of price probably. Like always, I'd try and push you towards Curtain Games. It's my one of my good friends that runs a store there, and it's a really good bunch of guys. They do a lot for Imperial Assault, so if you can go through them, I don't get anything for recommending them, but I just want to say, you know, good bunch of guys. Please, if you can get the stuff from there, do. I'm not sure that they sell these, but they definitely stock all of your Imperial Assault stuff, and bits like for 40k and Fantasy, or the games as well. For carrying my stuff around, I have, you might notice it says X-Wing on the side. This is my old X-Wing box that I've repurposed. Inside, if you can see in there, it's got my dice. This would normally have my decks in, but I've got it out at the moment to show you just my figures and the doors that I've got, and all of my tokens and everything. So it all fits in there, and then I can I can just pick this up and go then, really nice and easily. Got everything that I need to play a game in. So that's that. Right, let's turn you back. Hopefully you can see me again. Just going to direct you slightly down so we can chat about some cards then. Right, so I'm going to go through. So I've got these cards, that's my command deck. I'll go through those in a minute. Sorry, not my command deck, my deck for the game. Go through those in a minute. What I want to do though is talk you through the 0 point, 1 point and 2 point generic cards first from the, yeah, it doesn't matter if I've got a call, don't worry. So I just got a missed call on my phone, don't worry. I'm going to talk you through the 0 point, 1 point, 2 point generic cards in here, and then I'll talk you through my list building process on the actual for this deck that I'm going to be playing on Thursday. So, alright, so I'll pick these out one by one and show them to you. So first up we have Harsh Environment. I'll try and get that a little bit closer there. I'll leave it up for a minute in case you want to pause the video. Okay, so use at the start of the round until the end of the round. Figures on exterior spaces apply -1 evade to their defense results, and figures not on exterior spaces apply +1 defense to their defense results, +1 block. Don't tend to use it at all really. Have done in the past and tried it out, but not a massive fan. I'd turn this way, might be easier. Let's see if we can zoom in there. Okay, right, let's see. Right, let's have a look. Which way is that? Which way up are we? Okay, that's probably about right. We've got Take Cover. So hopefully you can see these on there now, guys. Let me know in the comments if not, and I'll do this slightly differently next time, but I think on a bigger screen you should be able to see this. To take cover during the round while defending, apply +1 defense and -2 accuracy to the result. Anything that takes an action I have to think really hard about including. It's just not good enough for me to include. Recovery in really specific lists, so it's an action to recover to. In really specific lists, sometimes I'll play it. So things like my Han and Chewie list, which is very much, it's really hard to get damage through. If once you've got damage through, they're recovering it, it can get really frustrating. So recover 2 in that list, I would say is fine. Normally this is one that I see a lot of new players go for. Find that they never use it because they want to move and attack, and then eventually it gets dropped out. Generally, I wouldn't use this. Set for stun. Again, just don't see it used. You've got to decide before you attack that it does it, because it's an action to perform an attack, and then if they would take damage, reduce it to 0 and become stunned. There are times when you'd really want to stun things, but it's situational. I don't think it's that good, so I don't tend to use it. Urgency, great card. Always see this one, well, I often see this one misplayed. It's an action, it's a special action to gain a number of movement points equal to your speed +2. So you've got speed 4, you gain 6 movement points. However, because it's a special action, you have to use all 6 of those movement points during that action. You can't move 3, shoot, move back, or move 4 to a door, open it and go through 2. You have to use all 6 at once, or all, however many it is at once. So don't make that mistake. Once people realise that, this isn't as good as you probably think, but it's still fantastic to be able to move that amount of distance. It can be really handy at times, but often you'll want to split your movement, so perhaps not as good as it looks. To the limit, seems great. Again, one that's often misplayed. You'll find that it's a special action again. So you have to have a special action on your card. So things like officers, things like Gideon, Bosk, I've seen this used on. I was chatting to Alistair, who's a UK Nationals champion, about this, and said, Luke, Alistair, you've got nothing in your list to use this on. Why have you got it in there? He pointed out to me that you can also use it with things like, for example, urgency, planning. So he had cards in his deck that would allow him, like Grenadier. So you could move with this, you could do Grenadier, as a special action, then you could play this after your action to do an attack as well, which can be great. So I can see there's some use for this, but again, it's probably a little bit too situational for me most of the time. Planning, great card, particularly if you're a leader, but sometimes even if you're not. Pull 2 cards, so special action, pull 2 cards. If you're not a leader, you have to throw one away, which is fine sometimes to sift through your deck, but if you're a leader, this is brilliant. You want to see this first turn, particularly if you're Imperial, for example. You get ruled by fear, you've got 5 cards in your hand, one of those is planning, you're through almost half your deck at the start of the game. That's 7 cards, because you get 3 plus your 2 from rule by fear, discard 1. So you've seen 5, then first turn you want to be playing planning to draw 2 more, and you've gone through 7 of your cards. You're drawing 8 and 9 maybe at the end of the first round, which is great. Rally, so use at the start of your activation to clear, discard all of your harmful conditions. Great card if you've got powerful signal activations, things like Vader who's stunned, loves this. Royal Guard champions, Luke, anytime that you're really depending on one figure, this is great. Otherwise, not so much. Of no importance, it's fine. It's no, it's not an action to use, and it's basically just takes 2 points off your opponent. So they would have had, say, 6 points for a trooper group, regular trooper group. Now they're getting 4. So it can be vital at times, but it's probably not going to have a major impact on the game. And it's not going to impact game state, just the score. So again, I'd rather have something that affects whether I'm going to score more in future or my opponent's going to score less. So this doesn't do that. It just takes 2 away from him now. Right, a few cards here. Hopefully you can see those guys. Start here, so brace yourself. Use when an attack targeting you is declared. If it is not the attacker's activation, apply +2 block to the defense results. It's just so situational. Things like hide guns will trigger that, layer will trigger that. I guess Greedo it'd be handy with. There's limited times that this will be worthwhile though, so I just never see it really. Cruel Strike's got the same problem as a lot of them. It's just a special action, and you have to decide it in advance as well. Attack gains Pierce 1 and weaken, just not really that powerful. Against the odds, I quite like this card. Sometimes I will slot it into a list. It's not an action or anything. Use it at the end of the round if you're behind by 8 or more victory points. So at least 8 more victory points for your opponent. You choose 3 figures and they get focused. If you lose something big early on, if you get down an activation, or if you deliberately play for this potentially, it can be massive. So you've deliberately targeted 2 or 3 groups instead of 1 group of your opponent to take the points from it. Then you play this, you've got 3 focused, and you finish off those groups. It can really swing a game. So this is more, if I am losing a game, this could really save me. If you're winning a game, this is useless. So a lot of the time you'll find that this is just surplus to requirements really. You don't need it a lot, so I don't include it very often, but sometimes when I'm trying out a new list, I'll pop this in there just to give me a little bit of, if it all goes horribly wrong, at least I've got something there. 3 of my guys are focused, and that's enough to bring me back into the game. Self-defense, yeah, it's fine. It's unmitigated damage. Use when a hostile figure enters a space adjacent to you. That figure just takes the damage. Can be great. There's just not much melee stuff in the game at the moment, and I don't really use it. I've seen people use it, it's fine. Expose weakness. Choose an adjacent hostile figure. The next attack targeting that figure gains Pierce 3. Can be handy at times. With Zelo in at the moment, meh, not great. But something like Vader, if you're struggling to get through him and you want to put a big attack on him, you could just move up to him and do this rather than with one of your weaker attacks. Not going to punch much through on Vader or an ATST, something similar than that. Anyway, play this, you'll get your next attack through and you'll probably put a few damage on. Set of traps, a lot of people try and use this. Sometimes it can be great. A lot of the time it's just board control, but that's absolutely fine. If you want an opponent out of an area, you can play this and they're not likely to end the round in that square because it's a free attack. If you can play it right, which you should be able to. If you and an opponent both play it, often if you try and stun them, things like that, to get off it, it can be helpful, but generally it's probably not worthwhile. I don't include it very often in my lists. Fleet-footed, yeah, great. That's just one of my... I don't really have any auto-includes. Probably Take Initiative and Negation would be about the only ones. But this one is up there as a great 0-point cost card. Improvised weapons, perform a shooting attack using green and yellow dice. You can't use abilities during the attack. Meh. I guess for something like a Wookiee, if you can't attack because you're stunned, you can get rid of it and do that, but no, never used it. Deadeye can be great, particularly with things like saboteurs. Haven't got a lot of range. It's really good this while attacking. For new players, while attacking and when you declare an attack are very, very different. While attacking is normally by far better because you can play it once, only when you need to. So see people declare an attack and putting this down. You don't need to do that. You declare an attack, you roll the dice, you miss, you play this, and then you suddenly you're in range and you're hitting. So it can be great. So yeah, I'll include this in quite a lot of lists. Again, it's another one, a decent 0-point card. Celebration. I like it, particularly at the moment. You see a lot of uniques. Imperial lists are very likely to be rocking things like Blaze, Sorin, Inquisitor. I think with the new Captain Tero from the Dewback Rider pack, that's going to be in there. There's generally in Imperial, there's generally in Scum, will be rocking Bosk, often be Gideon or 3PO Templeton from Rebel, and in future I'm guessing we'll see Jabba almost all the time. You don't have to play this as an action or anything, you just automatically gain another 4 victory points. That's a big swing. So I like this quite a lot at the moment. I think back along when you didn't see a lot of unique activations, it wasn't as good, funnily enough. But now almost every list I see has a unique activation, and this will give you an extra 4 victory points, which is 10% of your way to a win, plus whatever you've got from the guy. So it's great. Take Initiative is as close to an auto include as you get. You exhaust the card and you take initiative for that round. So your opponent has initiative for the turn, doesn't play anything, passes it to you. You say, passes the opportunity to play a card to you. You play Take Initiative. They can't do anything about it at that point because they've already had their swing, their chance to play a card, and you take initiative unless they have negation or comm disruption in hand. Really good, really handy, and almost always an auto include, and a reason or contributing factor to why C3PO, officers, regular smugglers are in lists, because they're good take initiative targets. Wild attack, I don't generally use this a lot just because I'm a little risk averse. I prefer to hit consistently for like medium amount of damage rather than one big swing with the possibility of completely missing. If my opponent's rolling in white dice, I'm already nervous, so I prefer not to give them a white dice. However, having said that, with things like the wiki that's coming out and the HKs at the moment where they can get their opponent to re-roll it, go for it. Fantastic in combination with those. I've got hard to hit, so when defending, re-roll a dice. Yeah, can be decent. You know, you roll that one block at a really important moment, or you roll a blank on the white, can be fantastic. Hasn't got the drawback of there is another, I think it is, or the force user card that allows you to re-roll the dice, because it's not limited, it's any figure, so that's, yeah, worthwhile. Element of surprise is one, again, that I always pretty much try and include, but again, I don't see it as an auto include. It's just in most of my lists. Use when you declare an attack, and if they didn't have line of sight at the start of your activation, you remove a dice from their pool. So they can get rid of that white dice if you're attacking. Just come around a corner, pop them with this, and it's great. I haven't tried this, but I don't know with this. For example, it'd be interesting to see if it came up in a match. Say Chewbacca is around a corner can't see him at the start of his activation. He moves around the corner and shoots. I don't have this in my hand at that point, so I don't play it. R2 goes, scumps on a terminal, pulls me a card. I pull Element of Surprise. Fantastic, I think. Right, I've got a use for that. Leia comes around the corner, shoots, asks Chewbacca to shoot. Now at the start of Chewbacca's activation, the target figure didn't have line of sight to him. Does he now, even though you've had line of sight to him through the whole of this activation, is he still able to play this? Could get really complicated because you've got to try and remember. Same with soaring, anything that allows them to shoot outside of their activation. Does it mean the activation that you're using now as opposed to the figure's activation? I don't know. So I'd be interested in seeing some answers on that. Somebody's not had recovery in here again. I'll move that card. An opportunistic is pretty much an auto include with scum. It's any scum figure, and you just get when they've taken damage, when a hostile figure has taken damage, you gain 3 movement points. Fantastic, free movement. 3 movement for free. So yeah, great card. Right, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll put the 1 cost and 2 cost in a separate video, just because I don't want to talk myself to death, and you might not enjoy this, in which case I won't bother doing the others. But let me know in the comments below, please, what you think of this, whether it's worthwhile, whether you want me to go through in a bit more detail. And what I will do is I'm going to do another video straight away now that will just talk through how I do my decks for a specific list, the one that we did before. So just from these, my favourites that I use regularly: Urgency, great, yep, that one's probably in there. Planning, yep, if I have a leader, it's very likely to be in there. Against the odds, maybe, could do. Fleet-footed, yep, very likely to be in there. Deadeye, very likely to be in there. Celebration and Take Initiative are great as well, and Element of Surprise. So all of those are decent choices from there. Opportunistic as well. Auto include, I would normally add and then take away afterwards, rather than just, oh, have I got a spare card for this? Or Element of Surprise, Take Initiative, Fleet-footed, and Urgency. If I have a leader, Planning will definitely be in there as an auto include as well. So normally I'll add those cards, as you'll see in the next video, and then if I need to, I'll take them away at the end, as opposed to adding them at the end if I have space. Okay, right guys, that's it for now. Let me know what you think of the video, please. Thanks.